Okay, welcome to Crow's 10 Minutes Caws. And as you know, we have been starting weekly topics. And today is Thursday, which means that we will have our feature called Strings Attached, first time today. And for those who have bought a guitar and have it at home and are in lockdown or self-isolation and never had quite the time to pick it up, well, maybe this would be a good time because we have Will from the band Abbygail giving us some tips on how to pick up your guitar and make something out of it. So, hello, Will.
Hi,
How are
Jean. You
you?
okay?
Yeah, and you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Would like to thank you so much for participating in this feature and all the work you have been doing preparing this. And I think we're gonna have a very good time, and people will maybe get some nice stuff out of it and pick up their guitars.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. So, I do hope as well that you're gonna have a good time. And first things first, because this is called Strings Attached, we're going to talk about strings today. So before actually starting to see like the guitar playing basics and exercises that you could use to train and improve your playing, we're just going to do something that is not that complicated, but that requires a bit of technique, and that is changing the strings. So I've got a guitar here that I'm going to show you in a second. I just need to get this out of the way. Right, so basically this is my Les Paul, and I've been using it quite a lot on tour lately because we just released a new album, so we've been playing a lot with my band Abbygail. So I'm just going to show you very quickly what I'm going to need to do this, to carry this out. So obviously a pack of strings, fresh strings. So I just use for the Les Paul or SG type, the 1046 gauge. If you've got like Stratocaster kind of guitar, you can use 942, which is lighter. It's more adapted to the Strat. So I'm going to use, but it's not compulsory. It's a nice thing that is about like €1 or €2, which is a string winder. So it's going to help you like turning the these little things here, the machine heads, very easily and like in a more efficient way. I use as well, I'm just going to put back the camera. It's going to be much more convenient for me. Right. So I use this as well, which is lemon oil, so it helps you clear the neck of the guitar because of playing, you always have a bit like of sweat and dust that just like gets on the neck, and it's not something you want to have because that could have like an influence on how you sound and on your bands and all various things you can do with a guitar. I'm going to use this as well, clippers, so that I can just like get rid of the extra length of string. And I use a capo as well, but I'm going to show you in an extra session because this is more for like setting up the guitar properly.
I think Pascal and Bertrand are missing from your background.
What, sorry?
Pascal and Bertrand and the guys are missing in the background.
Right. Okay, so can you can see the guitar,
Yeah.
the guitar neck here. So the first thing you want to avoid is just taking the clipper here and just clip your strings, because it's just going to release really suddenly the tension there is on the neck, and you don't want to do this to the guitar. So what you want to do, starting from the highest strings, from the high E, you want to unwind. You want to unwind the strings gently. So this is when this comes under the spotlight, because it's very convenient. Otherwise, well, you know how much time I've spent turning the machine heads. manually, and it's such a waste of time. So you want to do this very gently so that the tension eases out very smoothly on the neck. You don't want to, you don't want to make sudden pressure or tension changes on your neck, because it could, well, it's not going to break your guitar and the neck's not going to snap, but, well, you want to be precautious. So I just unwind this very quickly, so now you can all enjoy watching me unwind my strings. Right, so you don't have to go all the way to unwinding, then you can just turn, and just remove the strings very gently.
That's actually very interesting. I didn't know that gadget. Yeah.
Okay, so now you can actually, so it's going to be like easier to dispose, the strings, so you can just, clip them. Right, so put this away. And then we're going to the other end of the guitar. So I don't know if you can see properly.
Yeah.
So you just get this out. So sometimes it won't come out because it's been like attached for a while. So just pull the strings out. You push them out and then you just pull them. And so the guitar now is free, and it is a good occasion, like while you're at it, you can actually clean the neck using the lemon oil. So there is like a little buffer thing, a little pad here, and there's the lemon oil in it, and you just want to, I'm not going to do it here because you need some time to let it dry, so, and we're just not going to watch the lemon oil dry here, but you just, I'm just going to close it. Oh, you just press it gently so that you've got lemon oil, and then you let it dry for a while, and then you just use like a cloth and you just wipe it out. Okay, so now let's pretend I've done that. I'm just spoiling it just to show you. So now I'm just going to get my strings out, and, well, if you're not familiar, most of the time, well, these are Dean Markleys, like USA Dean Markleys, but there is like a little code on what string goes where, and if this is the first time you do this, well, you're not going to get confused with the big strings like the E and A, but then you might be confused between G and B or E, like the high E, because they are very thin. So you want to use the color code that is just mentioned on the pack. Okay, so I know that, well, it's not always the same code. It depends on the brand or that you take. I know that Annie balls are like one color for each string, and this is like basically you've got two colors. You've got brass and you've got purple, or violet as they call it. And now one thing you want to do and bear in mind is you want to start with the biggest strings, because the reason why you don't want to start with the thin ones is very simple. If you just wind them up, well, then the tension, because the high E would be alone to try to hold the tension that is applied to the neck. It's probably going to snap if you try to tune it, and if it's the only string on the neck. So you want to pay attention to that. So I'm just going to take the massive E, which is 0.46 inches something. I don't know exactly what it corresponds to, because that's an American system. So we talk here in centimeters and millimeters, but I don't know what it corresponds to. Okay, so on the pack it says like 6E is purple, so I'm just going to take like the biggest one. Well, you're probably not going to see because this camera is not good enough, but it seems to me pretty obviously that among those two, purple, the biggest one is this one, so that's the E string. So I'm just going to put those two here down on the floor. sometimes it's quite hard to find them and to see them, especially when you're growing old. But well, see what I'm going to do here. Just going to take you there. Okay, so I'm just going to take the string and put it in there. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And I just pull it so that it gets to that little purple thing. Okay? And it's got to rest, obviously, well, you will figure this out very easily. It's got to rest here and then all the way to the top in there. And you will just, it's quite complicated to do with only one hand, but I'm sure I'm going to manage. If I do this, can you see things proper?
Yeah, for now, yeah.
The camera holding still. It's not particularly easy. Anyway, so you're just gonna put it. Hold on. I should have got some duct tape. Yeah. So you make it go through the machine head here. So I'm just doing it. I will show you like with more details in a second, a more detailed view in a second. Okay, so this is what I've done. Okay, so I just passed it through. So far, I've not winded it around the machine head or anything. Okay, so, and what I'm going to do is like give it like a good 3 or 4 centimeters and pinch, use my fingers to pinch it like, you know, up to, let's say up to the next machine head, okay? The A machine head, okay? The A string machine head. And now I just go back here, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so I'm just going to release this, my pinch, but you shouldn't do it. I'm just doing it so that I can like actually hold the camera with my other hand. What I'm going to do is actually, okay, so these are my 3-4 spare centimeters. I just take it here, okay, and go around the little peg here, okay, to make like a nice loop around it. Can you see it?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay. I'm trying to be as like clear as possible, but it's not very easy because the camera is not like a macro camera. And now what we want to do, so we are, you know, that the loop you've made is above the end of the string that runs toward the end, like the neck, the head of the guitar. Okay, so it's above it.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it make sense to you? Can you
Yes.
see that really?
Yeah, we can. It does.
All right. So this is very important because if you don't do that, then you're gonna have like your string overlaying. You will have different layers of string, and then in a minute you will understand why it's important not to do this. So now I'm just winding very slowly, and now what I'm gonna do as the string reaches the first loop, don't know if you can see, yeah. I'm gonna make sure like this part of the string here that goes back down to the tail of the guitar now goes under the part here. Okay, so I'm just pushing it down, pressing it down as I wind so that this part here goes above this part here. So I'm just pressing the string down to the head of the guitar. Okay?
Yeah.
G, you tell me if it doesn't make sense because, you know, my English is not that great.
Come on.
So I'm just winding here, and see, this is the crucial point here. Hold on. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm showing you. Yeah. Okay. So this part here, like the one that is on my finger, should go over the one that is below my fingertip.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just do that, and we carry on winding, doing this. Well, you see my hand, how beautiful it is. Right, so I'm just winding, and now we're done. Okay?
Yeah.
This is done. So the first string is in, and you don't want to bother too much about tuning now. You just want to put it in tension so that the tension gently gets back into or over the neck of the guitar. Okay?
Yeah.
So right now, what I'm just going to do is fold this string so that it doesn't come in the way for the other string. So now I'm just going to repeat the thing. So I'm just retrieving the strings that I just dropped on the floor like an idiot. Okay. So I'm just taking string A. So if you remember well, that's brass. And same thing. Hello again. I'm back here. Okay, so putting it on the saddle here. There we are. So what you want to do if you're thinking ahead, you want to have like the hole aligned. Okay, and get the string in it. Okay, so everything's in place. So I'm just gonna have like remember I pinch like let's say 5 centimeters after the little peg here. Okay, so I pinch, I get back, and then I whirl around. Okay.
So if you weren't explaining this, how long would you take changing all 6 strings?
Well, I would say it's about, well, without the drying time of the lemon oil, I would say about, well, from 3 to 5 minutes, because I do it a lot of times.
Yeah, okay. Just for people to get an idea.
Yeah, well, don't consider it as a personal failure if it takes 10 to 15 minutes the first time you do it, because it requires a bit of like, getting used to it, and you might just see the strings not going the way you would like them to go, etc., etc. So, well, if it takes 10 minutes for the first time you do it, well, I mean, it's not that bad, okay? So now I'm going to show you what I wanted to show you. I'm not sure you can really see. I'm just going to put this a bit bigger so that I can see what I'm showing you, and you have a nice vision of my bed cover here, right? So
that's what I was saying before, that your bed disappeared.
All right. Okay, so the string gets here. It's like at the bottom, and then, well, there is no string overlaying at any moment. Like the string never, well, there aren't like 2 string layers or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very important. Let me tell you why. Because if you have layers, what is going to happen is when you're going to like use the machine heads to tune your guitar, then the strings they're going to be like more tension as you play because of the vibration. The string might just slip or skip and like jump to a place where there is no string layer beneath. And obviously the tension will be less because, the height of the thing is not going to be as much. And then what you're going to have, well, what's going to happen is like right in the middle of playing, well, you're going to be out of tune.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something you want to avoid. Strings should never have like 2 layers, or I don't know how to say that exactly. I haven't got like the technical words, but this is something you want to avoid. And now, well, I'm obviously I'm going to repeat the thing like up to the first string, the high E string. But I'm not going to do this now, obviously. But I'm going to show you something you want to do. Once your strings are in place. So you can take, well, I haven't got one here, but what you want to do so that you make sure that that little piece, that little ring here, those little rings here that you've got at the end of the string, to make sure they are like well in the saddle and they're not going to move, and that in the machine head the string is well in place. Well, you tune your guitar and then you're just gonna pull the strings so that you take it here, like well, sometimes when you've got a normal regular guitar, you've got 2 microphones here, so you just like in between the 2 microphones, you just grab your string and you pull it gently. You don't have like to pull it like mad, because you're going to hurt your fingers first, and then because it's useless, but you just pull the string to make sure that this little ring is right in the saddle and is not going to move as you tune your guitar. And you do the same thing like here. You do like at about the 9th fret, okay, which is like this dot here. the last dot before those 2 dots here, which is the 12th fret. So you just like basically like kind of the middle of the neck. You pull it as well, okay, just a bit of tension, gently, and then you do it here as well, just before this part here, okay, so that the string falls gently into place and it's never ever gonna move. And one last thing I'm gonna tell you for today, because I don't know for how long I've been talking, quite a while, I guess.
Yeah, 10 minutes went to 20, but I think that the subject needed a bit more time.
I'm nearly done.
No problem.
What I would recommend you to do when you tune your guitar, what you want to do is always tune up, never tune down, because like because of the cogwheels that are within the machine head, you make one action, one horizontal action, and it goes vertical. So obviously you have cogwheels within the machine head. If you tune up, then they're going to be in tension. The cogwheels are going to be in tension, so your tuning is going to be fine, and it's presumably not going to move. Well, it's going to move a bit because you're hammering the strings and you're playing, and they're brand new, so they need to get a bit loose. But never tune down, because if you tune down, there is no tension, basically. So if you tune down to the exact pitch of the string, well, then you're going to play, the cogwheel is going to be in tension because of your playing and you're strumming the strings. And what's going to happen is that you're going to be very, probably what we call blue, just below the pitch. So you're still going to be out of tune. Okay, so always, if you wind the strings up a bit too high, then you just go one step down, well below the E, for example, and then you tune back up until you reach the note you want to reach. This is something very important. That's something I've learned on stage and from other very talented guitar players. Right.
I think you just made me want to go next room, grab my son's guitar, and change all the strings.
Well, if I managed to do that, I mean, it wasn't that bad, so...
No, I think many people will appreciate, because when they buy guitars, that's about the first thing they need to learn, and
oh yeah,
many times they don't know how to do it.
You know that there are two use cases. The first one is you buy a guitar. If it's your first guitar, you probably, well, unless it was a fantasy, it's been a fantasy for ages, and you want to buy a Gibson SG, for example.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Gibson SG, no reason why. And you can tell that I've never played with SGs. Well, you buy a cheap first guitar, like a regular guitar, well, you're probably not going to have brilliant strings, very good strings. So what you want to do, first thing you want to do is buy a pack of decent strings, not factory strings, and just change your strings. And the second use case is, well, you go to your dad's attic or your granddad's attic and you find a guitar that's been sitting here for ages. Well, don't play with that guitar, because you're probably gonna get hurt because of the rust on the strings and all. You could get disease. I'm just kidding, obviously, but if you find this guitar in an attic that's been staying here for ages, in function of the hygrometry, the rate of water in the air, let's call it this way, you want to bring the guitar in a more decent room, a room in which you live, and let it sit here for, let's say, a week before, getting the strings off. That's something important. Wood is alive, and you want to treat it as something that's alive.
Okay, thank you, Will. And
Well,
I hope that people will try this technique out at home and tune in for next week and learn the next step of what you have to teach us.
Yeah, so maybe we'll be a bit more into playing the guitar, because it will leave people 1 week to change their strings.
Yeah, but
And we'll talk a bit
people
more
will
about.
also need to realize that before playing the guitar, there are many things that need to be learned, and they may
Yeah,
sound boring, but they are needed.
they are essential, and I'll tell you why. But we'll define what we'll do next week. And but setting up the guitar is very important, and we haven't covered 10% of it, like the most essential stuff.
I can imagine. Yeah,
All right, thank
we'll
you.
have several weeks and many
Have
things.
a lovely evening and a nice weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, see you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Bye bye. Take care.
And I would just like to remind our viewers, if you tune in tomorrow, we will have Dressed to the Nines, which will be some very nice fashion tips with Alexa. See you tomorrow. Bye.